I stand in the Magnolia banquet hall, squeezing Clay's hand so hard my knuckles turn white. The room feels cavernous despite the soft jazz playing and elegant decorations Lucinda spent hours arranging. My engagement ring catches the light, suddenly heavy on my finger as I scan the scattered groups of guests. Half the chairs sit empty. 4 months of planning, $18,000 saved from my event coordinator paychecks. All for this moment that my own parents have somehow managed to hollow out from a distance. They look like they're at a funeral instead of an engagement party, Clay whispers, his thumb rubbing small circles on the back of my hand. I force a smile. At least they came. My cousin Derek passes by with his wife, their conversation dropping to whispers when they notice me. I catch fragments, money problems, and split up. My stomach lurches. I grab a champagne flute from a passing server just to have something to hold besides Clay's increasingly sweaty palm. Cyra. Clay's voice has that careful steadiness he uses when delivering bad news. He pulls out his phone, the screen tilted toward me. My mom just texted asking if we're really still together, despite what your parents told everyone. The champagne turns acidic in my mouth. What? She says Gordon and Leanna have been telling people we broke up weeks ago. The room spins slightly. My parents aren't just absent, they're actively sabotaging us. 3 weeks earlier, Mom had called while I was reviewing catering options. Her voice had that saccharine quality that always preceded demands. Honey, about your engagement party next month. You'll need to cancel it. I'd nearly dropped my tablet. Cancel? Why would I? Marin just got her promotion to senior analyst. We're planning a celebration dinner that weekend. Mom, we've been planning this for months. People have already RSVP'd. Cyra, your sister's career is taking off. This promotion is a big deal, much bigger than a party that could happen any time. When I refused, she hung up without another word. That's when the whispers started. Aunt Francine's regrets. Uncle David's sudden fishing trip. Cousins who became mysteriously busy. Now I understand why. I need to make a call, I tell Clay, my voice surprisingly steady as I step away from the sparse crowd. I lean against the wall in the empty corridor, fumbling with my phone. Cousin Anika answers on the second ring. They're telling everyone we broke up, I say, my voice cracking. What? Who is? Mom and Dad. They're spreading rumors that Clay and I aren't together anymore. There's a sharp intake of breath, then Anika's voice hardens. I'll call Grandma Eloise. 15 minutes later, my grandmother's voice fills the phone speaker. Not on my watch, dear. My trembling hands steady as Lucinda appears beside me, her wedding planner notebook already open. We're sending a truth blast email to everyone in the family, she says, fingers flying over her tablet. Direct and professional, no room for misinterpretation. For the first time tonight, I feel something other than shock. A slow-burning anger ignites in my chest. I remember my 17th birthday, a hastily bought grocery store cake after Mom and Dad forgot until the last minute. 2 months later, they flew the entire family to Cabo for Marin's Sweet 15 celebration, complete with professional photographers and custom decorations. Marin needs the extra attention. Mom had explained when I questioned the disparity. She's more sensitive than you. Now I might lose more than just an engagement party. The carefully cultivated relationships with extended family members I've maintained despite my parents' favoritism are in jeopardy. Aunts, uncles, cousins, people whose weddings and baby showers I've attended faithful are believing lies about me. Send it. I tell Lucinda, my voice stronger than it's been all evening. Every single person on the guest list needs to know the truth. As the email goes out, I return to Clay's side with new resolve. This isn't just about a party anymore. It's about refusing to let my parents rewrite my life story one more time. You know what? I whisper to Clay as Grandma Eloise makes her entrance, turning heads as she strides purposefully across the room. I think it's time I stopped being the understanding daughter. Clay presses a kiss to my temple. I'm right here with you. I straighten my shoulders and watch as Grandma makes her way toward us, determination in every step. For 31 years, I've accepted being second to Marin. Not anymore. This is my moment, and I'm taking it back. The next day, at home, I stare at my phone screen, unable to process what I'm reading. The text from Aunt Francine to Mom glows accusingly in the dim hallway of the Magnolia banquet hall. I understand completely, Liana. If Cyra's always been jealous of Marin's success, it makes sense Clay finally saw through her. Such a shame about their financial troubles. We're praying for her. My back slides down the wall until I'm sitting on the floor, lungs struggling to pull in enough air. My own mother wrote these lies. My fingers tremble as I scroll through more messages Anika forwarded from relatives who reached out to her in confusion. Uncle David. Gordon mentioned Clay called off the engagement weeks ago. Why is Cyra pretending otherwise? Cousin Melissa. Heard about the credit card debt. No wonder they're fighting. Each message lands like a physical blow. They're systematically contacting every guest with elaborate falsehoods, not just discouraging attendance but actively destroying my reputation. Cyra? Clay's voice breaks through my spiral. His face pales when he sees me on the floor. My brother just texted asking if we need money to get back on our feet. What's happening? I wordlessly hand him my phone. As he reads, his jaw tightens and a vein pulses at his temple. They're telling everyone we're broke, that you left me, that I'm unstable. My voice sounds hollow, even to my own ears. This is beyond just skipping a party. Clay helps me to my feet, his hand warm and steady against mine. This is character assassination. The next afternoon, Grandma Eloise presides over an emergency strategy session from her vintage armchair in her living room. At 82, she commands the room with the authority of a general plotting a counteroffensive. Anika, what have you learned from Clay's side of the family? Grandma adjusts her reading glasses, a notebook balanced on her knee. Anika paces between the fireplace and the bay window. Marin has been calling Clay's relatives directly, telling them Cyra had a breakdown when Clay suggested postponing the wedding. That's absurd, I exclaim, the familiar hot rush of anger overwhelming the shock that had numbed me earlier. Lucinda looks up from her tablet. 7 more cancellations since yesterday, all citing respect for the family's privacy during this difficult time. I pull out my phone and open Facebook. My stomach drops. Look at this. I hold up the screen showing Marin's latest post, a throwback photo of us as teenagers with the caption, "Family is everything, especially during unfortunate circumstances. Always here for you, sis. Family first. Truth will out." The audacity, Grandma mutters, tapping her cane against the hardwood floor. She's implying something went wrong without explicitly lying. Lucinda straightens. All business. Here's what we do. Verified group emails from my business account, a family Google Meet tomorrow evening, and I'll update all my social platforms confirming the event is proceeding as planned. I've drafted a timeline, Anika adds, sliding a document across the coffee table. Every communication, every cancellation, with dates and exact wording. My eyes burn with unshed tears. This carefully planned celebration is turning into a humiliating disaster. What should have been a joyful milestone has become a battleground for family loyalty. The phone rings, and Lucinda grimaces at the caller ID. Clay's parents again. This is the 3rd call today. After each conversation, Clay emerges more frustrated. His mother's concerns have evolved from gentle queries to pointed questions about the family we're joining. Maybe we should just cancel, I whisper when Lucinda steps away to take the call. I can't bear everyone whispering, taking sides. Absolutely not. Clay kneels in front of me, his eyes fierce. They win if we cancel. This is our moment, not theirs. We'd lose thousands in non-refundable deposits. I remind him, always the practical one. I don't care about the money. His hands cut my face. I care about us starting our marriage, by standing our ground. The phone rings again. This time, it's my phone. Aunt Francine's name flashes on the screen. I answer warily. Cyra, dear. Her voice wavers. Eloise just called me. I owe you an apology. Liana told me. Well, it doesn't matter what she told me. I should have called you directly. A small, sweet victory blooms in my chest. Thank you, Auntie. I'll be there Saturday, and I'll set the record straight with everyone I spoke to. As I hang up, a weight lifts just one small stone from the mountain on my shoulders, but it's a start. I stare at my phone, the question burning in my mind. Should I confront my parents directly about their lies, or let their absence speak for itself? Confrontation might clear the air, but risks giving them another opportunity to manipulate the narrative. Silence, on the other hand, might preserve my dignity but leave questions unanswered. What would you do when those who should support you most become your greatest saboteurs? A week later, I stare at my phone, the screen illuminating my face in the darkened bedroom. A notification from Marin's social media account stops my breath. So excited for my career celebration dinner this Saturday. Same night as another event that was supposedly happening. But priorities, right? Career goals. Family first. My fingers tremble as I zoom in on the screenshot. She's included her formal promotion announcement with the party details. Same city, same night, same time as my engagement celebration. Clay, I whisper, turning to wake him. But he's already sitting up, his own phone casting blue light across his troubled features. My boss just called, he says, voice rough with sleep. Someone sent him an email asking if he was aware of our relationship instability and suggesting it might affect my work performance. What? The room seems to tilt. Who would? It came from an anonymous account, but the timing. Clay runs a hand through his hair. He's concerned about my focus on the Henderson project. I sink back against the headboard. This isn't just about a party anymore. They're attacking Clay's career now. My parents sent their regrets this morning. I say, showing him the formal card that arrived in today's mail. They cited their commitment to Marin's important milestone as the reason they can't attend. Clay takes my hand. How many guests does that pull away from us? At least 12, I admit. Several aunts and uncles texted that they feel obligated to attend Marin's celebration since my parents will be there. They planned this. They always do. The next morning, I stand under the shower spray, hot water mixing with silent tears. Clay thinks I'm just washing my hair. He doesn't need to carry this burden too. I press my forehead against the cool tile, watching water swirl down the drain along with my enthusiasm for wedding planning. The careful timeline I created months ago sits neglected on my desk. Later, spread across our dining table, I arrange printed screenshots of texts, emails, and social media posts, a documented timeline of my parents' manipulation. Each one stings like a paper cut, small wounds that together become unbearable. That's all of them, I tell Clay, who sits beside me adding notes about dates and times. We'll make copies for Grandma Eloise, Lucinda, and anyone who needs the truth. The doorbell rings, startling us both. Clay peers through the peephole before opening the door with a relieved smile. I brought reinforcements, Lucinda announces, striding in with determination. Behind her trail, 3 people carrying sample boards, fabric swatches, and what appears to be a miniature chandelier. What's happening? I ask, bewildered. Lucinda's eyes gleam with purpose. If they want to make your party small, we'll make it spectacular instead. Meet my rescue team, all industry friends who've dealt with their share of family sabotage. A woman with silver-streaked hair steps forward. I'm Valerie, floral designer. I've got premium arrangements ready to donate that were canceled for another event. For the first time in days, something lifts in my chest. That afternoon, I spot Aunt Francine through the coffee shop window before she sees me. She's sitting with her friend Margot, gesturing with familiar animation. As I approach, her words become clear. Such a shame about Cyra and Clay, she's saying. Liana tells me they've been having problems for months. I set my purse on the table with a thud. Is that what my mother told you? Aunt Francine startles, coffee sloshing over her cup's rim. Cyra, I didn't see you. Clearly. I slide into the empty chair. Please continue explaining my relationship to your friend. Margot mumbles something about another appointment and hurries away, leaving us alone. Your mother is just looking out for both her daughters, Aunt Francine says, dabbing at the spilled coffee. She's only ever looked out for one. My voice remains steady despite the tremor in my hands. I open my purse and withdraw the folder of evidence. One by one, I place screenshots on the table between us. Here's my mother telling you Clay and I broke up 2 weeks ago. Here's what she told Clay's parents about our supposed financial troubles. And here, I tap a printed text message, is Marin scheduling her celebration deliberately against ours. Aunt Francine's face pales as she views each document. I've spent my whole life accepting less, I say, meeting her eyes directly. I've watched Marin receive cars while I got gift cards. I've rearranged my graduations to accommodate her soccer tournaments. I've smiled in family photos while standing in her shadow. This time I refuse. Something shifts in Aunt Francine's expression, recognition, then remorse. I never realized, she whispers, examining a particularly vicious text from my mother. I've been blind for too long. She reaches across the table, covering my hand with hers. I'll make this right with the family, Cyra. This isn't fair to you or Clay. That evening, Grandma Eloise calls from her retirement community. The ladies in my bridge club are outraged. she announces without preamble. We've started what Doris is calling our truth campaign. Each of us is personally calling 5 family members to set the record straight. I picture Grandma and her friends, a formidable army of seniors with decades of family diplomacy experience, working the phones on my behalf. How can we help? She asks a question so different from my parents' demands that I almost don't recognize it as family communication. As Clay, Lucinda, Anika, and I finalize the engagement party details in my living room later that week, I feel a new confidence straightening my spine. Lucinda shows us updated RSVPs. Grandma Eloise's network has successfully brought many guests back on board. I think we'll have a good turnout after all, Lucinda says, her professional smile warming to genuine pleasure. The evening of the engagement party arrives with spring rain washing the streets of Asheville. I stand at the venue entrance, Clay's hand warm in mine. In moments, we'll walk inside and discover who actually showed up, who chose us over my parents' lies. I take a deep breath and push open the door. On the engagement day, I stand at the entrance of the Magnolia Banquet Hall with Clay beside me, his steady hand at the small of my back. The knot in my stomach loosens slightly as we greet each arriving guest with practiced smiles and warm embraces. Every handshake feels like reclaiming a piece of my narrative from my parents' grasp. Thank you for coming, I tell Aunt Beatrice, who hesitates briefly before hugging me. It means more than you know. The carefully arranged photographs of our 6-year journey together line the entrance hallway, Clay and me hiking in the Blue Ridge Mountains, our first apartment with that hideous orange couch. The day we brought home Pepper, our rescue beagle. Physical proof of our history, our solidity. As the evening progresses, I notice the room filling gradually. Not everyone returned after my parents' campaign of misinformation, but enough familiar faces populate the tables that the celebration no longer feels hollow. Perhaps 70% capacity of victory considering where we started. Clay taps his glass gently, drawing everyone's attention. His voice carries across the room, steady and sure. To those who stand with us today, he says, raising his champagne flute, you are our true family, not by obligation but by choice. No bitterness colors his words, just simple truth. I blink back tears as glasses rise in response. Lucinda has worked magic with the space, transforming what could have felt like a sparsely attended event into an intimate gathering. Fairy lights twine through greenery on each table. The smaller band plays in the corner rather than on the main stage, creating a cozy atmosphere rather than highlighting empty chairs. The main doors swing open unexpectedly. My heart stutters as Marin walks in, wearing a cream silk blouse and tailored pants. Her professional smile doesn't reach her eyes. I just wanted to congratulate you both, she announces too loudly, air kissing my cheek while her gaze darts around the room, clearly tallying attendance. Before I can respond, Grandma Eloise appears at my side, her silver hair perfectly coiffed, her spine ramrod straight despite her 83 years. Marin, darling, she says, voice sweet as honeysuckle but with steel underneath. Where are your parents this evening? Everyone's been asking after Gordon and Liana. Marin's smile falters. They sent their regrets. Dad had an important client dinner. Uncle Robert frowns from nearby. That's odd. Gordon told me they were attending your promotion celebration tonight. Well, yes, after the dinner, Marin stammers. It's a sequential event situation. Aunt Donna tilts her head. But your mother told me you and Clay had broken up weeks ago, Cyra. She was quite detailed about it. The room grows quieter as several guests exchange knowing glances. Marin's cheeks flush scarlet. I should go, she mutters, backing toward the door. Early meeting tomorrow. Congratulations again. She practically bolts, leaving a wake of whispers behind her. Grandma Eloise squeezes my hand. Should we call your parents from here? Everyone could wish them well. I hesitate, my throat suddenly dry. Would publicly exposing their absence force a reconciliation, or would it merely deepen the divide beyond repair? The weight of the decision presses on my chest. Before I can answer, Grandma turns to the small band and claps her hands. Do you boys know The Twist? Chubby Checker? 1960? The pianist grins and strikes up the familiar tune. Grandma kicks off her sensible pumps and begins demonstrating the dance that scandalized her own mother 6 decades ago. Within moments, the dance floor fills with laughing guests attempting to match her surprising agility. Clay's parents approach us during the impromptu dance contest. His mother, Patricia, wraps me in a genuine hug. You're the daughter we've always wanted, she whispers, her gardenia perfume enveloping me. Don't let anyone make you doubt your place in this family. Robert Mercer, usually reserved, places his hands on my shoulders. Our son chose well, he says simply. Something shifts inside me as I watch the celebration transform. The awkwardness that lingered earlier dissolves into genuine joy. Bodies sway to the music, laughter bubbles across the room, and stories flow freely over dessert plates. The absences no longer define the evening. For the first time since discovering my parents' betrayal, my shoulders drop away from my ears. My fingers uncurl from the tight fist they've been maintaining. The success of this night doesn't depend on my parents' approval, it never did. Later that evening, as Clay and I thank the last departing guests, Lucinda hands me my phone. Your mother left a voicemail, she says quietly. You might want to listen to it tomorrow. Morning sunlight streams through our bedroom windows when I finally press play. My mother's clipped voice fills the room. 7 people, Cyra. 7 people at Marin's dinner. You'll pay for this humiliation. Clay sits beside me on the bed, our fingers intertwined. They're getting desperate, he says, showing me his phone. Look. An anonymous Instagram account has posted claims that I cheated on Clay last summer, tagging mutual friends. My stomach drops. They're escalating. Clay's phone rings, she's father calling. The conversation is brief, his face growing increasingly troubled. Dad received an email about your unstable work history, he reports after hanging up. And apparently, someone's been sending similar messages to your workplace. I press my palm against my forehead. This is no longer just family drama, they're attacking our livelihoods now. The battle lines have been redrawn, and I know with cold certainty that the real war has only just begun. 2 days later, the phone rings at 7:30 in the morning. Clay checks the screen and his jaw tightens. It's your father. I pull the comforter tighter around my shoulders, my body instinctively bracing. Speaker. Clay answers, keeping his voice neutral. Hello, Gordon. Clay, good morning. My father's voice carries that false warmth he reserves for business negotiations. I was hoping you and I could meet, man to man, without Cyra. Clay's eyes meet mine as he sits on the edge of the bed. What about? There are things about my daughter you should know before you make this commitment. Things she hasn't told you. My stomach clenches. Even now, they're still trying. I'd be happy to discuss your concerns, Clay says, his thumb already activating the recording function on his phone. Is it all right if I record our conversation? A pause. That won't be necessary. I prefer transparency, sir. My father clears his throat. Fine. Listen, Clay. Marin's promotion has been challenging for Cyra. She's always struggled with her sister's success. Clay's hand finds mine under the covers. In what way? Weddings are expensive. If you're considering postponing, we could help with a down payment on a larger home instead. Something more appropriate for your future. Clay's eyebrows shoot up. You want to pay us to cancel our wedding? Marin is experiencing significant emotional distress over this situation. As parents, we need to consider both our daughters. And the family heirlooms Liana promised for the ceremony? Clay asks, his voice steady. The pearl necklace from Cyra's grandmother? Those items stay with immediate family, my father says, the veneer of warmth evaporating. Surely you understand. Clay straightens his shoulders. Sir, I know exactly who Cyra is, which is why I'm marrying her. The line goes silent for several seconds. I'll be sending screenshots of this conversation to Grandma Eloise, Clay adds before ending the call. I lean against his back, my forehead pressed between his shoulder blades. They'll never stop, will they? No, he says, turning to hold me. But neither will we. 2 days later, I stand on my parents' doorstep, my heart pounding against my ribs. Grandma Eloise waits in her car at the curb, her presence giving me courage. This is your one chance to make things right, she told me earlier. After this, you live your life on your terms. My mother answers the door, surprise flickering across her face before settling into practiced composure. Cyra, this is unexpected. May I come in? She steps aside wordlessly. In the living room, Marin lounges on the couch, scrolling through her phone. She looks up, her expression hardening. What are you doing here? She asks. My father emerges from his office, arms crossed. Cyra has apparently decided to grace us with her presence. I remain standing, my phone recording in my pocket with Grandma's full knowledge and blessing. I wanted to talk about the wedding, about family. There's nothing to discuss, my mother says, arranging herself carefully on the armchair. You've made your choices. As have you, I reply, steadier than I feel. You chose to lie to our family about my relationship. Marin springs up from the couch. Oh, please, you've always been a parasite on this family. Taking and taking while contributing nothing. Nothing? I keep my voice level. I've attended every milestone in your life, every celebration, every achievement. Because you have none of your own, Marin nearly shouts. Your pathetic little job planning parties for other people because you have nothing worth celebrating yourself. My mother doesn't correct her. Instead, she sighs. Cyra, we've always had to work harder to make up for your inadequacies. Your sister is making something of herself. Can't you just once put family first? The words land like physical blows, but for once they don't knock me down. I reach into my pocket and switch off the recording. I'm not asking for your approval anymore, I say, a strange calm washing over me. I'm offering you one last chance to be parents, to both your daughters. My father notices the movement. Were you recording us? He lunges for my pocket, but I step back. Yes. The room explodes. Mother gasps. Father rages about betrayal. Marin screams that I'm manipulative, desperate. This is why you'll never be welcome in this house again, my father says, pointing to the door. Get out. I walk out with my head high, the evidence of decades of favoritism secure in my pocket. 3 weeks later, an unfamiliar number appears on my phone. The woman identifies herself as Janine Porter from HR at Marin's company. Miss Calder, we're calling regarding an incident involving your sister, Marin Calder. I sink into my desk chair. What's happened? We've discovered Miss Calder used company email to circulate personal information about you to several clients and colleagues. This violates our confidentiality policies and exposed client data in the process. My mouth goes dry. I see. A colleague forwarded these communications to our department with documentation of policy breaches. We want to assure you this behavior doesn't reflect our company values. I close my eyes, picturing Marin's fury when confronted with evidence of her actions. What happens now? Miss Calder denied responsibility initially, but the electronic evidence was conclusive. After our investigation, she's been demoted to junior analyst. We also want to extend our sincere apologies for any distress this may have caused. Junior analyst, after the promotion that was worth ruining my engagement party. Will you be pursuing any further action? Janine asks carefully. That evening, I tell Clay everything while we prepare dinner together. Are you going to sue? He asks, dicing tomatoes with precise movements. I shake my head. Their consequences are their own making now. The wedding planning continues without input from my parents or Marin. 94 invitations go out, 3 addresses deliberately omitted. 2 weeks later, Aunt Francine calls. Have you heard? Marin's barely speaking to your parents. She blames them for everything, says they encouraged her to fight your engagement, and it cost her the promotion. I'm surprised by how little satisfaction I feel. That's between them. After we hang up, a small package arrives by courier. Inside, I find a delicate lace handkerchief with hand-embroidered flowers around the edges. The note in my grandmother's elegant script reads simply, "For your something old from your real family." I hold the handkerchief to my cheek, feeling the soft texture of generations of love against my skin. For the first time, I truly understand that family isn't defined by blood, but by the people who show up when it matters most. On the wedding day, I stand beneath the white gazebo adorned with climbing roses and honeysuckle, the late afternoon sun casting a golden glow across our garden ceremony. Clay waits at the altar, his eyes never leaving mine as I walk toward him, flanked by his mother Jean on one side and Grandma Eloise on the other. For once, my shoulders aren't tight with anxiety. My hands don't fidget with my bouquet of wildflowers. Instead, I feel a lightness I've never experienced at family gatherings, the freedom of celebration without compromise. Every flower, every song, every word spoken today is exactly what we wanted. I whisper to Jean and Grandma Eloise as we reach the front row. No negotiations, no appeasing difficult relatives. Jean squeezes my arm. That's how it should be, sweetheart. When the minister asks who presents this bride, both women answer in unison, "We do," with love and blessing. Their voices carry across the intimate gathering of 60 guests each. 1. Someone who chose to stand with us despite the rumors, the lies, the manipulations. During our vows, I look directly into Clay's warm brown eyes. That night at our engagement party showed me what true family means. I say, my voice steady and clear where once it might have wavered. When the room stood half empty, I discovered that having the right people matter more than having many. You taught me that. Months ago, I would have scanned the crowd constantly, hoping for last-minute arrivals, making excuses for absent relatives. Today, I don't glance once at the empty chairs where my parents and Marin might have sat. Instead, I focus on Clay's smile, on Aunt Francine wiping away tears in the front row, on Lucinda giving me a thumbs up from beside the photographer. Family is who shows up, I continue, not who shares DNA. The words come from a place of confidence rather than pain, a truth finally embraced rather than a wound freshly salted. Clay's voice breaks slightly as he responds, and I will always show up for you, Cyra. Every day, every celebration, every ordinary Tuesday morning. After the ceremony, as sunset paints the reception tent in amber and rose, Grandma Eloise taps her glass for attention. She stands with Anika and Lucinda flanking her like General's me support system, my war council, my true family. To the bride, Grandma says, raising her champagne, and to the women who know her worth could never be diminished by others. She looks directly at me. We saw you when others chose not to. Later, during our first dance, Clay pulls me close and whispers, "Look around at all the people who truly love you." I rest my cheek against his shoulder and take in the scene, Lucinda directing servers with cheerful efficiency, Anika showing Clay's teenage cousins how to properly fold napkins, Grandma Eloise holding court with her senior friends who made all those truth-telling phone calls. When the music shifts to something livelier, Aunt Francine approaches, her expression hesitant. "Marin called me yesterday," she says quietly. "She asked if you might be open to talking again." I consider this as I watch our guests laughing, dancing, celebrating our love without any hidden agendas. Any relationship would need new boundaries. I reply after a moment. Real ones this time. "I understand," she nods, "and I'll make sure she does too." As the evening comes to a close, I dance with Clay beneath strings of twinkling lights, no longer looking over my shoulder for approval that never came. My smile feels different, peaceful, whole, uncompromised. I wonder if true family is something we're born into, or something we build deliberately through loyalty and love. Can bridges burned through betrayal ever be safely rebuilt, or is it wiser to construct new connections with those who've proven their devotion? What would you do if offered a chance to reconcile with those who tried to diminish your happiness? As Clay spins me gently under his arm, I realize I don't need the answer today. For once, I can simply celebrate without explanation or apology, surrounded by people who understand that love means showing up, even when it's difficult. Especially then,